Recently, a video surfaced on social media showing a Chinese female tourist riding a pink electric suitcase on a busy road in Thailand, heading to an international airport. She was dragging another suitcase behind her while riding in the middle of traffic. The woman was not wearing a helmet and was dangerously using her phone while riding. The video quickly sparked heated discussions among Thai citizens who criticized her actions. One commentator said, "Playing on her phone without a helmet, she's really playing with her life." Another added, "This behavior is not only illegal, but also a serious safety hazard on the road." In response, Thai traffic police stated that the tourist's actions constituted a traffic offense. During their investigation, they discovered that the tourist held a Chinese passport and had already left Thailand on the night of August 22nd. Incidents of misbehaving Chinese tourists abroad often make headlines and stir controversy. For example, according to a post on X, a fight broke out between Chinese tourists over seats on a Royal Caribbean cruise. In the video, a woman is seen being pushed to the ground, and security intervenes to separate the involved parties. Another passenger can be heard telling everyone to get out. Chinese tourists got into a fight in front of a Louis Vuitton store in Japan over who could get in line first to buy products. It's incredibly embarrassing. I really can't understand the mindset of these people. If you don't have money, why are you buying LV? And if you do have money, why would you start lining up at 4 a.m. just for a 20 to 30% discount? Another case involved two Chinese women arguing at Tokyo's Narita airport, where one slapped the other after a minor collision with their luggage carts. The attacker, Peng Qing, who claimed to be the president of a Chinese construction company, was arrested by Japanese police after the incident. This sparked debate among people in both China and Japan. Some Japanese commentators said, "No manners, no morality. They may be rich, but their hearts are very poor." Others mentioned past incidents like children defecating in public on a bullet train, showing frustration with such behavior. A Chinese feminist, Ms. Gao, commented in an interview with Radio Free Asia saying, "The fight at the airport has nothing to do with being at home or abroad. It's a reflection of the social and familial pressures these women are under. This is both a social and governmental issue." Ms. Gao believes that many Chinese women face discrimination at work and home. They endure a lot of psychological pressure that they shouldn't have to bear, from workplace competition to the lack of space in their personal lives. A recent video circulating online shows a group of Chinese tourists arguing loudly with a Singapore tour bus driver. The tourists accused the driver of being rude because they didn't buy the items he was selling. In response, the driver unloaded their luggage and refused to continue the trip until they apologized. It's reported that the incident occurred on August 16th. One of the members of the involved tour group posted on social media that their group of 15 was on a 10-day tour of Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand, but when they arrived in Singapore, they were asked to merge with another group. According to Singaporean media, the driver had attempted to sell souvenirs to them, but the sales did not meet expectations. According to a report by Xinmin Daily News, a 70-year-old unnamed driver mentioned that the driver in the video is his colleague, who is usually a quiet person. The driver, trying to earn some extra money, did sell affordable souvenirs to passengers, but never forced anyone to buy them. He expressed his frustration, stating that the driver also had to help passengers with their luggage without receiving any tips, and he hoped the passengers could be more understanding. Mr. Chu, the owner of a nearby restaurant, mentioned that the group of Chinese tourists had dined at his establishment that day. Hearing the commotion, he offered them drinks and ice cream to calm them down and prevent disturbing other customers. Shortly after, another vehicle arrived to pick them up. In another incident, a Chinese female influencer was questioned by police for verbally abusing a nurse in Singapore.
Did you just swear at the nurse? So what if I did? She said I'm not a Singaporean, that I don't have status here, and that I'm not eligible to get treatment in Singapore. She said all of this herself. Bring the nurse over here and let's confront her face to face. I'm asking you first, did you swear at the nurse? I've been waiting here for all these hours and still haven't been treated. Don't go off topic. I'm asking if you swore at the nurse. Ask the nurse yourself. She said you did. If she thinks I did, then so be it. So, did you or didn't you? I'm asking you. What do you think?
The person in the video was a Chinese female influencer with over 250,000 followers on Douyin. She claimed that she was deliberately hit on the foot by a driver in Singapore and sought emergency treatment at a local central hospital. During her visit, she refused to wear the mask provided by the nurse and verbally abused the medical staff, leading the hospital to call the police. Later, investigators went to the hospital to take a statement from the woman regarding her verbal abuse of the medical staff. However, she repeatedly dodged their questions and refused to cooperate. During the interaction, she even swore at one of the investigators in Mandarin, then started recording a video and attempted to grab an investigator's badge, but was firmly stopped. The video shows that at first, the woman refused to directly answer whether she had insulted the nurse and instead made a dramatic statement saying, "Bring all the Singaporean police here." She was unwilling to cooperate with the police in giving a statement, but eventually admitted, "Yes, I insulted her. So what?" Since the woman was waiting for treatment, the investigators decided to follow up on the case after she received medical attention. However, the woman uploaded the video to Douyin, sparking widespread discussion. Some Chinese people criticized her, saying that when traveling abroad, one should respect local laws and that she had been spoiled back in China. Police investigations revealed that this wasn't the first time the influencer had been in trouble in Singapore. Just a week before insulting the nurse, she had been reported by security at a condo in Marina Boulevard. The security team had helped escort her back to her residence after she was found drunk, but she allegedly pushed the security guard's shoulder, pulled his tie, and used insulting language. When the officers arrived, the woman complied with their instructions, but the police continued their investigation. They found that she had violated the conditions of her work permit, and the case was referred to the Ministry of Manpower. Eventually, the woman faced 6 charges, including 1 for public nuisance, 2 under the Protection from Harassment Act, and 3 under the Private Security Industry Act. She ultimately pleaded guilty and apologized. In recent years, there have been numerous instances of Chinese tourists being criticized for uncivilized behavior at tourist spots abroad. For instance, a photo of Chinese tourists soaking their feet in the pool at the Louvre Museum in France circulated online, sparking widespread criticism and a heated debate about the behavior of Chinese tourists. The Louvre is a symbolic building in France and a world-renowned tourist attraction, vastly different from a bathhouse or a foot spa on a Chinese street. Soaking feet in a public area or at a tourist site clearly violates basic moral standards and tarnishes one's personal image. Earlier this year, a photo of a Chinese couple allowing their daughter to urinate in front of the Chakri Maha Prasad Throne Hall in Bangkok was widely shared on social media, causing public outrage in Thailand. The country's Minister of Tourism and Sports personally commented, saying, "This is inappropriate behavior by tourists," and instructed relevant agencies to investigate. Another incident involved a Chinese male tourist who deliberately smeared deer feces on deer crackers and then laughed as he fed them to a deer in Japan. The video of the incident, showing people laughing at the deer's reaction, was uploaded online. In a different video, a Chinese man was seen mistreating a deer in Nara, Japan. Another video shows a Chinese tourist wearing a white t-shirt and holding a phone, kicking a deer hard. Even after the deer ran away, the man chased it and kicked it again, slapping another deer along the way. The man appeared arrogant throughout the video, leaving the scene without any remorse. In Japan, the deer in Nara are considered messengers of the gods and have been designated as a national natural monument and have protected status. However, this July alone, there were multiple incidents of tourists harassing or attacking the deer, fueling anger among Japanese people. Angry Japanese citizens began patrolling Nara for several days. One person caught a Chinese boy feeding deer crackers covered in feces to a deer. A Japanese man filming the scene brought the contaminated cracker close to the boy's face, asking him to feel what the deer felt. The boy eventually fled with his mother. In 2018, a Chinese student on a study tour defecated in the corridor of Hong Kong's Tsim Sha Tsui MTR station. While a local cleaner was handling the mess, a Hong Kong woman angrily scolded the student and their teacher for nearly a minute, upset by the uncivilized behavior. In 2016, 2 Chinese male tourists were caught urinating in public at the Royal Botanical Garden in Sydney, Australia. When police came, they resisted and were arrested on the spot for assaulting an officer. In 2015, a Chinese woman was seen holding a child while he defecated outside a Burberry store in the UK. Despite placing a piece of paper on the ground, the incident occurred just a few meters away from a restroom, leading to strange looks and criticism. In 2014, a Chinese couple let their child urinate on the street in a busy area of Hong Kong. A local man expressed his disapproval by filming the scene, leading to the child's father snatching the camera and memory card and the mother slapping a passenger. The police intervened, and while the father was released without charge, the mother was arrested for assault. In 2012, the French fashion brand Zadig and Voltaire stated that due to the poor behavior and lack of taste of Chinese tourists, their new hotel in Paris, set to open in 2014, would not accommodate guests from China. Beyond these disruptive behaviors, some Chinese individuals have also challenged the laws of other countries. On the afternoon of August 7, a 27-year-old Chinese man walked into a jewelry store in Osaka, Japan, and asked a female staff member to show him a Patek Philippe watch worth over $400,000. Suddenly, the man pulled out a knife, threatened the staff member, and ran off with the watch. A male staff member at the door tried to stop him, but was stabbed in the abdomen and later died. The suspect was arrested at Kansai International Airport hours later and confessed to the crime. Since China and Singapore began mutual visa exemptions on February 9th this year, the number of Chinese tourists visiting Singapore has surged, leading to incidents of Chinese tourists forming groups to steal and then flee back to China. According to Singaporean media reports, a spate of 10 break-ins occurred recently in upscale residential areas, with the stolen goods valued at approximately $3 million. About one-third worth of stolen items have been recovered. Preliminary investigations by Singaporean police indicate that these thefts are linked to a Chinese crime syndicate that specifically targeted Singapore for these operations, with each member playing distinct roles in the robberies. The suspects entered Singapore at different times and from various locations in China just 1 or 2 days before committing the crimes. Police believe the group was divided into small teams, with some scouting and identifying targets, others breaking into homes, and others transporting the stolen goods. When committing their crimes, the thieves would climb over walls or fences to enter upscale residences, most of which were near park paths or wooded areas, allowing them to quickly escape and conceal their tracks after the theft. Some would hide the stolen goods in nearby forests, where another team would later retrieve them. After successfully carrying out the thefts, the criminals would swiftly leave the country. The police have linked these cases to 17 Chinese nationals. 3 suspects have been arrested and charged, while the other 14 are outside Singapore. The police are actively searching for them. Reports indicate that Singaporean police have contacted their counterparts in China for further investigation. Among those arrested are 2 men, Long Zihua, 38, and Lu Changzang, 43, who were both charged with housebreaking and theft on June 28th. Their case will be brought before the Singaporean state courts again on August 30th. Singapore's Minister for Home Affairs and Minister for Law stated that while Singapore's crime rate has been low, with a steady decline in housebreaking cases over the past decade, this incident highlights the growing security threat posed by foreign nationals entering Singapore and targeting residential areas for organized crimes. It's not just in Singapore. Travelers are increasingly being warned not to place valuable items in overhead compartments on planes, as there are organized groups, often from China, that specialize in in-flight thefts. In August of this year, a theft occurred on a flight from Da Nang, Vietnam to Hong Kong. A 57-year-old Chinese man was arrested for allegedly stealing a Rolex watch worth over $42,000, $5,000 in cash, a bank card, and various foreign currencies from fellow passengers in the cabin. According to a Facebook post by a passenger, the flight landed in Hong Kong 30 minutes ahead of schedule at 12:25 a.m., and passengers were disembarking to board a shuttle bus. However, after the bus doors were locked, it remained stationary for an hour with the air conditioning set uncomfortably cold, and there was no response when they tried knocking on the doors. The passenger stated that police cars arrived later, and flight attendants identified several suspects. The police then escorted 5 mainland Chinese passengers back to the cabin, where it was discovered that someone had lost their belongings. The passenger also mentioned that upon boarding, they noticed a few solo travelers from mainland China, which made them uneasy, and unfortunately, their concerns were justified. In September 2023, a Chinese man named Wang was arrested for theft. He frequently traveled on long-haul flights from Asia or Southeast Asia to Canada, France, or other Western countries, often transiting through Taiwan. He would target nearby passengers, pretending to retrieve his luggage while swapping the victim's euros or dollars with lower value currency. In many countries, theft on planes is considered a federal crime. Such incidents are far from common than most travelers realize. But why do Chinese tourists so often engage in uncivilized behavior abroad? Ms. Song, a Chinese citizen who has visited Japan multiple times, shared her view. The cultural refinement of Chinese people is still relatively low. Over the past 30 years of economic development, the country has focused on making money but neglected to improve the behavior of its citizens. As a result, Chinese tourists often create a negative impression abroad. In recent years, as people have become wealthier and started traveling more, there have been frequent incidents of trouble, fighting, and even lying on cherry blossom trees for photos. These behaviors keep happening. When traveling, people should focus on improving their conduct first. Some people suggest that the Chinese government should prioritize educating its citizens on good manners, rather than focusing solely on economic growth to prevent the moral decline that is becoming increasingly apparent.